Okay, I'm back. Kind of. We are working on two Model 3 batteries with our controllers. We've already had an order for them. Gentleman in Virginia that owns I guess, an organic farm there that does produce that's all organic, natural. And he wants to power his whole compound with Model 3 batteries and high voltage Model 3 packs. And he's ordered two from us and two chargers. And we've got our prototype working pretty well now. We can read all the cell voltages, even though both of these are the newer model packs that do not natively put out the cell voltage message ID 410 that the earlier packs did. But as described in the last video, we can... I'm here with a PowerSafe 15. This is our 15 kilowatt hour battery with a 6.6 kilowatt inverter in a box, designed actually for recreational vehicles and boats. I designed it for Wayne Reavers for his yacht. He immediately took his yacht out of his yacht and put it on his island and is running his whole island with it and wants to expand it into 15 kilowatt inverter and 48 volts and everything it isn't. And I've explained to him that you can't do that, Wayne, and there's a lot of reasons why. It's sort of designed as a self-contained unit for a RV or a boat. This one's going to Dimitri Shane of Anchorage, Alaska. Except he's not going to use it in Alaska. He's going to put it in a cabin in Hawaii, where he spends a good part of the year. And we're doing some final testing on it, and it's working very well. Meanwhile, yesterday we shipped the didn't precisely ship. The guy sent a couple of guys with a truck and picked up the two Model 3 batteries and their controllers. And they delivered a letter. We put it on the truck and they hauled it away. And he sent a letter, which I'll read to you. Nothing more exciting than to have somebody read something to you on YouTube. Oh, I live for that. Jack, I wanted to write you a thank you note to express my appreciation for your videos and staff at EVTV. About a year and a half ago, I contacted two different solar installer companies for a quote on a solar array, and I asked for battery backup. Both suppliers only wanted to put solar panels on the roof and use solar edge inverters. They tried to sell me on the fact that I don't need batteries because I could simply just loan the electricity company my surplus and borrow it back from them later. I wanted to be more self-sufficient. After a Google search, I found EVTV and started watching your informative videos. I would watch them over and over, trying to figure out what the heck it was all about. I'm doing a good job there. I slowly learned you were a full pack guy that liked high voltage batteries. I would often spend time trying to imagineer a 48 volt system using several of the 15 kilowatt inverters. It just wasn't working out for me, and I really wanted to go high voltage. Another really big issue I had was justifying spending this kind of hard-earned money on batteries and solar panels. And now the story gets good. In the January 4th video, Why I Am Shorting Tesla, I learned something new, stock option trading. Immediately went to my Play account with Robinhood and set it up for options trading. It was all new to me, and I followed what you were doing. I purchased around 100 Tesla 600 calls and about 30 of the 300 puts that Monday. And as you know, that was a genius move. I never made money so fast in my life. My account swelled up with profit instantly. I sold out, waited a little while, it went down, bought it again, and did that a few times. Before I knew it, I had more than enough money to buy the solar batteries, inverter, and chargers, etc. My wife, Pamela, then jumped on the stock option trading and has been doing quite well since. And now even she is watching your show weekly, mostly looking for stock tips. So I've learned and earned a lot watching your videos. I kind of feel like you not only taught me, but you gave me a beautiful solar setup that will produce and store electricity for many years to come. I'm grateful that you have been my teacher. Sincerely, A. Troy Rutherford. Mr. Rutherford ordered, I believe, a 50 kilowatt Sandy inverter, and we put him directly in contact with Sandy. I've had some difficulties with Sandy. I'm not sure they're with Sandy. A lot of it's just shipping and tariffs. There's a 25% tariff on their equipment now. The stuff's really heavy. It gets easily damaged in shipping. And right now, our Sandys are down. We have a current sensor that has apparently gone askew. But I contacted Sandy and basically bought 4 full board sets of all 3 boards in there and the current sensor. And I think we'll be able to repair both of them. They're very repairable. And so their support is really not bad. And he's putting in a 50 kilowatt Sandy with 2 Model 3 batteries and 2 6.6 kilowatt chargers. And so he's going to town with it. And so that was the Model 3 batteries that we were working on. They seem to be working pretty well. I'll probably try to order another couple of batteries here this week. And so life goes on at EVTV. Colin and I just had a conversation and told him we would receive prototype 2 of our module board. They actually came in Monday. I told him Wednesday. So he already has 3 of these. And hopefully is hard at work trying to get this talk to the Model 3 module. So we're off and running. Our buddy Damian McGuire is working on reverse engineering the Tesla Model 3 drive unit. And so things continue. We're having a good time at EVTV. The stock market. I have to tell you that I don't really understand people very well. I begged my wife last night, not for the usual, but rather for an explanation as to what am I missing about the coronavirus, Kung Flu virus. What am I missing? We are now in full-blown panic in Cape Girardeau. The grocery stores are overrun with people. You can't get some items. They're just stripped. I particularly am mystified by the toilet paper thing. The hand sanitizer I kind of get, but the toilet paper is, there's something I'm not understanding about this in the end, so to speak. So I really don't get it. But the grocery store parking lots are unapproachable. Our choir director has canceled choir practice for the next 2 weeks. This is 12 old people in a choir loft in the back of a church with nobody in it on Wednesday night. It's canceled. A longtime friend and mentor, a woman with 3 children from the Côte d'Ivoire, kind of lives in front of us, called at 6 o'clock this morning in a panic to get food for her children. We were naturally sympathetic. Even at 6 in the morning. What food did she need? Bottled water and ginger. I said, that's not food, Juliet. Why do you need bottled water and ginger? Well, I have to be able to give my kids something to drink. I said, oh, why don't you just let them drink out of the toilet bowl? Thinking of AOC, of course. She says, well, no, I'd never do that. I'd rather they just drink out of the kitchen faucet. Bingo, there you go. How about that? Let's compromise. Duh. And ginger isn't even food, it's a spice. Use salt. She was actually shaken up because she didn't think she could go to the grocery store, which they're not open at 6 in the morning anyway. Cape Girardeau, the nearest case of coronavirus is 120 miles away. We don't have the virus here. We're canceling everything, staying at home, putting businesses out of business. This is crazy. And I'm sure there's something I don't get about it. But I begged my wife, and she said, Jack, you just don't understand. These people are not like you. Good. As of today, there's 195,644 cases worldwide, 7,899 deaths. In the United States, we have 5,696 cases and 97 people dead. More people have died falling off of ladders than that in the same time period. This is crazy. You might as well have a wasp sting panic. And the President of the United States today offered a $850 billion stimulus plan for the economy. Yesterday, the stock market went down 2,996 points, essentially 3,000 points. We're down 30% from the high, based on a disease nobody really knows much about and doesn't have. And for the vast majority of them, they'll never have it. And for the ones that do, you're going to have a headache, a sore throat, a cough, and maybe a little fever. It's like a cold. Influenza. Is the mortality rate higher than influenza? Well, yeah. But we're not talking about mortality rate, we're talking about media rate. All channels, 24/7. Nothing is discussed. We have no news anymore except about coronavirus. Kung Fu flu. This doesn't make any sense at all. It's taken over everything, and it barely exists statistically. Now, I hear people say, well, don't compare it to the flu. Well, yeah, let's do compare it to the flu. It's not that I'm comparing the diseases, I'm comparing the media reaction to the flu. According to the CDC, 34 million cases of influenza since October 1st, 350,000 hospitalizations, and 22,000 dead. That's here in the U.S. It never made the news. They never talked about it at all. We have 6,000 cases and 97 people dead, and they don't talk about anything else. The stock market has crashed. 20% is a bear market. 30% is a crash, and we went past that based on something that I gotta tell you barely exists. And if you hadn't seen about it on the news, you wouldn't know about it at all. This is just crazy. So yeah, I've studied it. I've studied the reports. I've studied the literature medically. There is something about the Kung Flu that you all know and I don't. I just don't get it. I've missed it completely. But this morning I threw in the towel, and I've gone back into the market, partially. I've retained about $1.5 million in cash, but spent about $650,000. And right now I have 300 contracts for Apple Computer, September 18th, $350 calls, 100 contracts at $400 September 18th, and that's about a $170,000 investment. Apple Computer, I like their computers, I like their phones, I like their tablets. My wife likes all that. And better yet, we kind of got it integrated with the iCloud, where the whole techno system there works together in a way that no other company is doing. And frankly, I think we paid about $1,400 each for iPhone 11s for Christmas. And we like those. That company is sitting on $250 billion of cash. Their stock price has been kind of propped up because of their stock buyback program. Trump's corporate tax cut, which was part of his tax cut, has mostly been spent by these companies on stock buybacks. and that's part of what was driving the stock market crazy, where it just almost hit 30,000. I think we've seen the end of that for a while, and so we're not going to get back to 30,000. But this is crazy. Apple at $250.89. It was up $8.68 this morning from yesterday's disaster. But Apple's a solid company making a product that everyone in the world wants. They're not going away. Amazon closed up $110 this morning. They didn't close. They were up $110 this morning. I've got 200 June $3,000 calls, but they weren't anything. They're 80 cents this morning. That's $80 a contract. You can buy 100 contracts for $8,000. Here's some, I've got 20 September $2,500 calls. Now those are kind of pricey. They're $25.32 today, but that's up $8.45. That went up 70% since yesterday. And I've got 100 September 18th $3,000 calls. They're trading at $3.20. Amazon is going to benefit from this hugely. They're already doing more traffic than they did for Christmas. People are ordering stuff for at home. They're hiring with both hands. We're seeing really odd things. This kid in Tennessee went to every pharmacy and every grocery store within 100 miles and bought up 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer and put them on Amazon for about 6 times the regular price, and Amazon threw him off the service. Now he's got this garage full of hand sanitizer and no place to sell it. But my point is, Amazon is not just going to do well in sales during this, frankly, ridiculous panic, but it's going to bring a whole new generation of people to online shopping. And the Amazon experience is quite good. Post-zombie apocalypse, they're still going to buy at Amazon. This is going to be the greatest thing that ever happened to Amazon.com. And so I've got about, let's see here, $90,000 in Amazon contracts. Tesla, I've actually been buying from 702 down. This is called catching a falling knife with your bare hands. As the price of the stock falls, you keep grabbing at it. And I got some more today at 428. I'm up to 800 shares, or $342,000 worth of Tesla. Tesla is probably going to have a bad first quarter. They were going to have that anyway because it's first quarter. Some reports of vehicle sales in China being down 80% for the first quarter. And so it could very well be that Tesla's second quarter is a disaster. I don't even mind. They have $7 or $8 billion of cash on hand, and the demand isn't going away, it's moving out. And so I've got 40 shares, and they had gotten to be so crazy with their options, they were untradeable or unbuyable. But I've got 40 contracts now for September 18th, $1,000 calls. Again, quite out of the money and high at $12.69. And I've lost a bundle on those already. I'm down $131,000 on Tesla stock and about $46,000 buying these options. But I've got time. The stock doesn't have a time limit on it, and the options for September. And I'm going to guess I'm going to come out pretty good on that. Uber is down to $18.46. But I bought like 300 contracts for September 18th, $45, because they don't cost anything. They're 39 cents. That's $39 a contract. For $10,000, I got 300 contracts. I don't know what's going to happen with Uber, whether they win or lose, but I'm pretty sure they're worth more than $18.50 a share. They were $41 when this started. So they've come down more than 50%. And again, this zombie apocalypse just can't last that long. The market has gone crazy. I'm going back in to the tune of about $650,000 here, simply because I can't stand it. Could it go down more? Yeah, but we're getting into the zone where you're still going to be on the lower part of this thing if it goes down some more and then bounces up. Again, you can't hit the bottom exactly. I like to catch it on the way up, but this is so crazy. I think the spring up is going to be as alarming as the fall. The Fed has cut the interest rates to 0%. They're talking about giving loans at the window from the Fed to kids to start lemonade stands, not just banks. They're talking about an $850 billion stimulus. Apparently the government's just going to mail me a check whether I need it or not. This is fed on itself. Trump's earlier position was the correct one. Now he's gotten caught up in this by all the people screaming and shouting and running in circles around him. But he's kind of buying into what he has to know is nonsense. But it's the nonsense of the day. I have to tell you, I've talked about the virus, talked about how viruses work, talked about some things you can do to protect yourself. That's mostly practical things that apply to all viruses. And for entertainment purposes, I had no idea that people were going to take this so seriously. And they're on TV right now screeching that you should take it more seriously. No, this is nuts. This is 100% insane. You've fallen into mass hysteria. They're shutting down everything, all sports, restaurants, bars, churches. All that kind of has a good outcome because the regular flu is going to get taken out too, as are colds and almost any kind of transmittable thing. This social distancing I kind of like a little social distance all the time. I always have. So if you all want to practice some of it, of what I do already, I'm not too sure that's entirely a bad thing, but they've carried it to an extreme that is utter shrieking, panic, nonsense hysteria. And I don't mind, but it is annoying. And you're going to be over it soon enough. We're at the point now where it's just a matter of when they've sold enough of Mike's Pillow and enough Progressive Insurance from Flo and enough Geico from the little lizard that you're going to get tired of talking about the Kung Flu. And you're going to turn off the TV. At that point, where you reach out and turn the knob, they're going to have a whole new thing to talk about. And I believe at this point, this is entirely a media-fed frenzy designed to sell you pillows. You don't even need a pillow. Roll up your jacket. Use that for a pillow. You don't need a mattress topper. You can sleep on your mattress entirely without one. None of you ever needed insurance. It's sort of a scam to get money from people for nothing in the event that they might ever need it because of a disaster, and then you got to hire a lawyer to get it from the insurance company anyway. So it's an entire system designed to sell those things to you. And at this point, they've kind of gone over the edge. They're panicked. It's just utter nonsense what they're saying on TV. It no longer is rational. By the way, I have a severe case of COPD. I can't breathe now, but it's from Camel cigarettes. They're good and good for you. They're made of Turkish tobaccos. Don't look for coupons or premiums from Camel cigarettes. The cost of the tobaccos prohibits them. And so, if I get coronavirus, I'm dead. It's not like I'm insulated from all this. You'll be fine. I'll be dead. I was going to be dead anyway. And as I say, 97 people in the United States have died. And I don't view that quite the same way you do. But I do sympathize with the grief of their families. But there's been that many people die in that period by falling off of ladders. You can keep this in context, people. It's this is not going to be what you think it is. And in just a few weeks, when you get tired of listening to it on the TV, the news cycle will move on to some other story. And that's kind of the end of it. Life will go on. Is our economy going to take a hit? Well, yeah, but with $850 billion of stimulus and a 0% discount rate from the Fed, they're going to overshoot that, and it's going to overheat the economy where it goes crazy. And this is going to zoom up way beyond what it warrants. The response is going to be way past what the companies bear because of the overstimulus. It's just going to be crazy, potentially kicking off a period of inflation. It's all hysteria. But anyway, I wanted to show you what I'm doing. Again, you can't really invest in stocks. It almost doesn't make sense. This is so volatile. you have to play the options. It's just too much leverage. The temptation to gamble is beyond belief. I fear, particularly in the case of his wife, that I've unleashed a monster. These people are going to be addicted to gambling before it's over. And it's the NASDAQ is technically the world's largest and richest casino, and the place for the truly sick players is over in the corner with me in the options market. Most of you shouldn't ever buy an options contract. It's kind of like mailing money to your cat. They don't know what to do with it, but they're not going to give it back. You won't even be able to find it. So I'm not going to advise you to do any of this, but I will share with you what I'm doing. But I'm a little crazy. But this kind of volatility, I just can't not. It's gone nuts. The hysteria is out of control. It's taken over the stock market. The stock market shows in the morning aren't about stocks anymore. It's entirely about coronavirus. That's all they talk about. And the Dow Jones Industrials, which is 30 companies I've never had an interest in, but it's an index. It's been around a long time, so you follow it. It was down 3,000 points yesterday. That's crazy. And it's all panic over a disease that 190,000 people worldwide is not a lot of people. 80,000 people in China, and they're now down to reporting 1 or 2 new cases a day. That's 1.4 billion people. You have to be able to master second-grade arithmetic to survive in this world. And I'm afraid the people in our media that Brian Williams and Marla Gay's power demonstration of how not to do second-grade arithmetic is apparently the norm. The context of this is horrifying. 80,000 people in China can't be found with test instruments out of a population of 1.4 billion. You can't even locate them. It's so few. 190,000 out of 7 billion is not a big number. 7,000 deaths, tragic as they may be, are almost indistinguishable from yard accidents, accidents in the home. This does not warrant an attempt to crater our financial system. And it's actually no danger to our financial system because everybody knows it. They know it'll be over. But in the meanwhile, they're trading down. And we're doing crazy stuff. $850 billion stimulus, mailing people checks. This is nuts. 0% discount rate in our current economy is crazy. This is not the thinking of considered adults. They're reacting to the panic of the masses to where if you don't get bottled water and ginger in the next 2 weeks, you're just going to die. And we now officially have the laziest choir in Christendom. I can't make it out. If there's something you know about this disease that I'm missing, I'm all ears. But the comments I've received so far on this topic on YouTube convinces me that YouTube needs an official section for their own Special Olympics. And a lot of you need to be watching cat videos over there. Yeah, this is nuts. So I'm officially blowing the whistle. Everybody out of the pool for a 10-minute safety check. This is freaking nuts. You've all lost your minds. I would call on you to stop and think what you're doing and saying. It is not rational. It is completely out of context, and it doesn't make any sense at all. The doctors love it because they get some FaceTime on TV, and the TV loves it because you're glued to it. But it's nonsense. It is nonsense. I'm not playing anymore. I've tried to figure out what I was missing. I ain't missing anything. Y'all are freaking nuts. So I'm buying back into the market a little bit today. Take my advice and do whatever you like. Stay with us.